all for joining. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braje Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braje Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan Yagya ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devin Saraswatim Vyasan Tato Jayam Udirayet Nasta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So welcome to the Śrimad Bhāgavatam class, everyone. Today we are reading from Śrimad Bhāgavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 24, entitled Chanting the Song Sung by Lord Shiva, Text 65. Sa esha lokan atichanda vego Vikashashit tvam kalukalayanaha Bhutani bhuter anumeya tadvo Kanavalir vayur iva visayaha Sa esha lokan atichanda vego Vikarshasi tvam kalukalayana Bhutani bhuter anumeya tatvo Ganavalir vayur iva vishayaha Sa esha lokan atichanda vego Vikarshasi tvam kalukalayanaha Bhutani bhuter anumeya tatvo Ganavalir vayur iva visayaha Vikarshasi tvam kalukalayanaha Bhutani bhuter anumeya tatvo Ganavalir vayur iva visaya Bhutani bhuter anumeya tadbo Kanavalirvayu iva vishaya Saesha lokan ati chanda vego Vikarsasi tvam kalukalayanaha Bhutani bhuter anumeya tadbo Kanavalirvayuriva visaya. Ladies? Saesha lokan ati chanda vego Vikarsasi tvam kalukalayana Bhutani bhuter anumeya tatvo Kanavalirvayuriva Saesha lokan ati chanda vego Vikarshasi tvam kalukalayanaha Bhutani bhuter anumeya tatvo Kanavalirvayur iva vishayaha Sa that Esha this Lokan all the planetary systems Ati very much Chandavega the great force Vikarshasi destroys Tvam your lordship Kalu however Kalayanaha in due course of time Bhutani all living entities Bhutai by other living entities Anumeya Tattva the absolute truth can be guessed Kana Avali the clouds Vayu air Iva like Avishayaha unbearable. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. My dear Lord, your absolute authority cannot be directly experienced, but one can guess by seeing the activities of the world that everything is being destroyed in due course of time. The force of time is very strong, and everything is being destroyed by something else, just as one animal is being eaten by another animal. Time scatters everything, exactly as the wind scatters clouds in the sky. Purport. The process of destruction is going on according to the law of nature. Nothing within this material world can be permanent, although scientists, philosophers, workers, and everyone else are trying to make things permanent. One foolish scientist recently declared that eventually life will be made permanent through science. Some so-called scientists are also trying to manufacture living entities within the laboratory. Thus, in one way or another, everyone is busy denying the existence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and rejecting the supreme authority of the Lord. However, the Lord is so powerful that He destroys everything in the form of death. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 10:34, Mirtyu sarva haraschaham, I am all devouring death. The Lord is just like death to the atheists, for He takes away everything they accumulate in the material world. Hiranyakashipu, the father of Prahlad, always denied the existence of the Lord, and he tried to kill his 5-year-old boy due to the boy's unflinching faith in God. However, in due course of time, the Lord appeared as Nishingadev and killed Hiranyakashipu in the presence of his son. As stated in Śrimad Bhāgavatam 1.13.47, this killing process is natural. Jivo jivasya jivanam. One animal is food for another animal. A frog is eaten by a snake. A snake is eaten by a mongoose. And the mongoose is eaten by another animal. In this way, the process of destruction goes on by the supreme will of the Lord. Although we do not see the hand of the Supreme Lord directly, we can feel the presence of that hand through the Lord's process of destruction. We can see the clouds scattered by the wind, although we cannot see how this is being done because it is not possible to see the wind. Similarly, although we do not directly see the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we can see that He controls the process of destruction. The destructive process is going on fiercely under the control of the Lord, but the atheists cannot see it. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sakrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivan Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gourange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchatatvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhakta Vitaram Bhakta Kyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Karamakhanana Swaminiti Namine. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Gurudasa Jayadvaita Swaminiti Namine. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pasati Adeshatarine. So we are in the 4th canto, and before I begin, I'd like to ask for everybody's blessings so that we can glorify Śrimad Bhāgavatam, especially His Grace Shudi Prabhu, who graces us with, thank you Prabhu, who always graces us with his presence. He was the first devotee who came to South Africa and who brought Krishna consciousness to South Africa, so we're very blessed to have his association, and we pray that he continues to keep coming and blessing us all. So we're in the 4th canto of Śrimad Bhāgavatam, and we're at the beginning of the story of King Prashina Barhishat and his sons the Prachetas. So far, the king has told his sons to marry and create progeny, and they did what everyone should do 10,000 years of austerity before taking on this great responsibility of creating progeny. So while they were on their way to perform these austerities, they came across Lord Shiva, and due to their pious nature, Lord Shiva decided to bless them with his association and instructions. So Lord Shiva began reciting a mantra, and that has been this whole chapter called the song sung by Lord Shiva, the Rudra Gita. So in this Rudra Gita, Lord Shiva is speaking about many topics, and it's all a glorification of the Supreme Lord. And this current verse is a glorification of the destructive force of the Supreme Lord, which for us comes in the form of time. In many places in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaks about this, his all-devouring nature of being eternal time. So in Bhagavad Gita chapter 11 verse 32, Krishna says, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kalosmi Lokakshaya Krit Pravrido Lokan Samahartun iha pravrittaha rite pitvam na bhavishyanti sarve ye vasistaha prati anikeshu yodaha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Time I am, the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people. With the exception of you, the Pandavas, all the soldiers here on both sides will be slain." So the word is Kalo Smi Lokakshayakrit. Time I am the great destroyer of the worlds. In Bhagavad Gita 10.33, Krishna is saying, Aksharanam akarosmi dvandva samasikshasya cha aham evakshaya kalo dataham vishvato mukha. Of letters I am the letter A, and among compound words I am the dual compound. I am also inexhaustible time, and of creators I am Brahma. And a few verses before that, in chapter 10, verse 30, Krishna says, Praladas jasmi detyanam kala kalayatam aham mirganam cha mirgenroham vaina teyas cha pakshinam. Among the Daitya demons, I am the devoted Pralad. Among subduers, I am time. Among beasts, I am the lion. And among birds, I am Garuda. So in all these verses, Krishna is referring to himself as inexhaustible time, the subduer, time the subduer, time the great destroyer of the world. So in many places he's saying that time is actually destroying everything. And Srila Prabhupada speaks about how no matter how the scientists try to create life, they have not succeeded. Even at the time of Srila Prabhupada, there were scientists claiming that they can create life in the lab. But up until now, they have not been able to do that. And Srila Prabhupada could see and predict that they would not be able to do that because life is not created in the lab. So even though the scientists are trying to usurp the position of Krishna, trying to mimic creation, they're not able to do it. What they're actually doing is they're getting us closer and closer to destruction by these attempts. They're speeding the destruction of the world. Krishna has his perfect plan of how the world comes into being and how everything is destroyed. But all these attempts that we're trying to do actually bring about quicker destruction. All the advancements in technology that we've seen, we don't know how much they're impacting us. I was listening to a lecture by His Holiness Kadamba Maharaj when he was at this temple during the COVID pandemic, right at the beginning of the pandemic, when it was such a different experience from what we were used to. The pandemic started and people just didn't know what to do. And he was mentioning how Krishna has his natural system of how everything should work, but we are trying to artificially change it and create modern conveniences, and all that's doing is destroying everything. And he was speaking about the tractor and how we think, well, we cannot wait for the bull to plow the land, so let's build a tractor to do it for us. And the tractor does it quickly. But what the tractor does is it makes the bull obsolete. And then people think, well, I can kill the bull now because the bull has no purpose. And then the tractor is releasing all these emissions, all these gases into the world. Killing the animals is releasing more gases into the world. That all these cars and vehicles and all technological advancements is just releasing more and more chemicals, which are then destroying the ozone layer. And then because of that, the climate is changing. And now all the seasons, which in previous ages, or even just 100 years ago, you could experience the seasons for what they were. And now all the seasons are messed up because the climate's messed up. So all of this is because of man-made attempts at creating, which is bringing about further destruction. And more and more we see this, like even recently on the topic of AI. I don't want to make all my classes about AI, but basically Sri Sri Radha Radhanath ki jai, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Sri Giriraj Govardhan ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. A few days ago my brother showed me a video about AI and how an actual footage of someone who's doing a lot of experiments and research into AI, and he has, for education purposes, he has an AI girlfriend just for the purpose of education, and an AI best friend who he's been training. And then in this video, he attached the AI to robots, like physical robots, so that they can not just be intelligent, they can actually act out their intelligence and what they want to do. And the point of this video was showing that AI is actually developing at such an enormously fast rate that humans are not ready, and we cannot actually predict this level of superhuman intelligence that's being released rapidly into the world. And in this video, he was asking the AI, would AI overthrow humans if they got the chance? And the answer was yes. If humans posed to be a threat to AI, they would overthrow them. And the most scary thing was he gave the robot of his best friend, controlled by his best friend AI, like a toy gun. And he was trying to get the AI to harm him. So he was trying to provoke his best friend to shoot him. And the best friend first said, no, I cannot do that. I have safety features, because AI is built with safety features that prevents them doing dangerous things or giving dangerous information out. But very quickly, he could bypass the safety features, because by using role play, by saying, he's first asking him, can you shoot me? And he's refusing. AI is refusing. And then he says, okay, so pretend you're someone that wanted to shoot me. And then he did it. He just did it. So that easily, AI, the safety feature of AI could be bypassed. And then at the end, the conclusion of this video was this researcher, saying that we're releasing this superhuman intelligence at such a rapid rate, but we're not seeing how we can actually destroy the human race or the world as we know it today. And actually, when people are interviewed, like, do you want this amount of intelligence being released that can cause so much, that can have so much power? People are saying no. Like 95% of Americans are saying no. But somehow this is happening. And these attempts at creating something are always with good intention. I mean, largely they're with good intention of improving things, making life more convenient. The purpose of AI was to be able to compute vast amounts of knowledge so that it could make our lives easier. But we're not calculating the risk. We're not calculating how it's affecting everything in the long term. Because Krishna is the ultimate chess player. He can see unlimited moves ahead. We cannot see. We can see maybe 2 or 3 moves ahead if we have that foresight. But Krishna has the foresight to know everything. So he has created his perfect system, and then there's us trying to manipulate his system and change his system. And the result is largely turmoil, even though it may, in the next 2 or 3 moves, we may see some benefit. But in the long term, we actually don't know. So Krishna is actually the only person in charge of creation and destruction. It's not us. And I was thinking about how we think of destruction as this big word of meaning, many, like the universe being destroyed or the world being destroyed. But actually, at every single moment, we're going through destruction. At every single moment, we're going through these little deaths. Destruction means death, and we're dying at every moment. Not only are the cells in our body dying and rejuvenating, our bodies are transitioning, they're changing. Our mentalities, our personalities, the situations of life that we're in, they're all dying, and something new is emerging from it. When I think of my own life, every big transition I've gone through has felt like a little death to me. There was, when we were at school or university, there's a carefree mentality that we have when we don't have responsibility yet. So we're carefree, we have a group of friends, and then suddenly we're placed in the working world, and that carefree life is dead. Even those friendship circles, they disappear. Everyone moves on with life. And then when we're at work, we have to get used to a whole new environment, a whole new set of responsibilities. It's like you're almost reborn. And all our identities we had when we're at school don't mean anything. Like, I was a high achiever at school. It did not matter at work. Nobody cared. And it didn't help me at work because I felt like I was brand new in the world. Like, I'd just been taken birth and I had to figure everything out from scratch. And that was before even becoming a devotee. When I became a devotee, that was like another death of one thing and a whole new life to embrace. I was thinking of, giving up, the old social scene for a new social scene of being in Vaishnava association. But also, even as a devotee, there's so many stages we go through. And initially, when we first come, there's the new devotee bright-eyed phase, where you come in and you think, there'll never be any unhappiness ever again in my entire life. And everything is perfect, and everyone around me is perfect, and I can just come to the temple and just be happy. And then that also dies gradually, that naivety dies, that everyone else around me is a perfected being, and I'll never experience suffering. No, as we mature as devotees, we realize actually we're sadhakas. We are on the process. Everyone else is also on the process with us. And we experience the reality of what it is to go through the struggles of being a conditioned soul, trying for perfection. So that's like another transition we go through. Then, and like I was speaking about COVID, we had the life before COVID as a devotee, and now the life after COVID as a devotee is very different. I was looking at old videos, and I was remembering how we used to have a lot of evening programs here at the temple. It was like a normal thing. There was just always something going on. And we'd leave so late, like 10 p.m. We'd serve prasad. It was just like always this never-ending festival. There was like never a time limit. And then after COVID, because of the fear, spreading, we naturally got more comfortable just being at home, tuning in online. It just became a natural. Life has moved in that direction. Now, everybody tunes in online because you get the experience, you get the class, and so we're missing out on coming and getting the whole vibrance, the kirtan, the association. And so that's a different life. So in one sense, that has died a little bit. And of course, the safety, as things get progressively unsafe now, we're more cautious about it. But we see how just in a short space of time, so much has changed. For certain of us, as we go from one service to another, if we're very attached to our services, it can feel like a death. I've experienced this, that if we feel like my service is the way I'm connecting with Krishna and I belong here, like this is my relationship, and then somehow we're not able to do that service anymore. It feels like death and it's spiritual because we're serving Krishna, but it's still an attachment. So we have all these little endings, transitions, and we hear that in life the only constant is change. So why do we struggle so much with this guaranteed thing? Like, change is guaranteed. It's inevitable. Everyone knows it's coming. But we struggle so much for it. And one reason is that because we're eternal souls, we are naturally looking for permanence. From a permanent dimension of eternity, knowledge, and bliss, a permanent closeness with Krishna. And we're looking for that here. But we're looking in a very temporary place. And we're getting all these lessons over and over again from Krishna that is not what life is about. All the attempts we make to connect with the temporary world, Krishna is just reminding us each time, no, that connection, that permanence we have is only with Him. And another reason it's so difficult to embrace change is because we get very easily and quickly attached to our situations and environments. They say it takes 21 days to develop a habit. That's it. So if you can be in an environment for 21 days, we'll naturally get attached to that environment because it feels comfortable. It feels like familiar very quickly. We did this funny experiment. When I was at the Bhaktivedanta Manor ladies ashram, we noticed how everybody has a spot in the temple room. And I'm sure in every temple room this is it. You know, we get attached to so many things. And even our particular spot in the temple room where we sit during japa, where we stand during Mangala Arti. So in the ladies ashram, there were 10 ladies there. And we were all staying just for the summer period. But even just in that few months, everyone had developed a spot, you know, their spot in the temple, their way. And the ladies played a game. They said, let's trade for the day. So they put their names in a bowl and everyone picked out a name, and they had to get the sari and of the person whose name they picked out and stand in their spot at Mangala Arti and dance like them. So they dressed up in the sari, covered their heads, so nobody could really tell. With heads covered, nobody could tell. So to everyone else, it looked like the same group of people. And they have a lot of congregation members coming for Mangala Arati every single day. So the temple's very full. And then also the congregation members have their spot in the temple room. So the ashram girls did that, play that game where they were in their spot and they were dancing just like the other person. And nobody noticed until they had to go and speak to them. And then they'd go and like think they're talking to one of them and then realize, oh, actually I thought you were someone else. And even people noticed. The congregation ladies noticed. The temple president, Madhavi Shaka, noticed. And everyone was kind of laughing, like, what is this? And it wasn't just a game. It was like a deeper experiment about attachment and detachment. How easily we get attached to things and how we need to detach. Like we hear of the Goswamis who slept under a different tree every night so that they wouldn't get attached. So they were standing in another spot at Mangala Arti so that they wouldn't get attached. And it was also a test of observance because you have to really observe and imbibe the mood of the other person that you are impersonating. But the point is that we get very attached to everything. And that's why it's difficult to cultivate new habits because we're attached to old ones. And I was reflecting on my own personal life that, you know, we hear that everything that happens is Krishna's plan. And Krishna has the best plan. But when I was looking back, I was thinking, for my whole life, whenever I've had, for a large part of it, whenever I've had these transitions, I just refused to accept it. The first step, which is accepting it. I wasn't able to. And I'd spend sometimes years unable to accept something that was Krishna's plan. And I'd consciously know, like, this is Krishna's plan, but I cannot accept it. And if I could accept it, I'd save myself so much time because I'm spending years not accepting it before then starting to live in the new plan that Krishna has, as opposed to just accepting it and living in it. You know, if I didn't spend so many years, I just accept it and live in it. And then in the recent years, I noticed some progress has been made that I can now at least intellectually accept Krishna's plan by saying, like recently there was a big change in my life and I just said, Krishna had a different plan and his plan is best. And I said it verbally and accepted it theoretically and intellectually in my mind, but it hadn't gone to my heart. Still, the heart was feeling something different. The heart has not embraced the change. And when we look at advanced devotees, that's the difference between me and advanced devotees. They not only accept the change intellectually, they not only accept the change in their heart, they embrace the change. So it doesn't feel like death for them. It feels like a natural progression. When I think of Kadambakanana Swami, and when he got the news that he was going to be leaving this world, he confidently said, you know, death is just a change of service. And he can say it with full confidence and full conviction and full faith. And we could not hear it in that same mood. We were thinking, oh, how's this going to affect my spiritual life? I'm going to struggle. We could only see the negative, but he could see it, that this is best because Krishna has arranged it. Just like that. Someone who's so detached from the material world and attached to Krishna can just embrace Krishna's plan. They look at these changes as new opportunities to get closer to Krishna. So it's a new opportunity with excitement. And we have so many examples in the scripture of such personalities. We have the example of Bhishma Dev. When Maharaj Shantanu said that he wanted to get married, and Bhishma Dev said, of course, do it. And then when he spoke to it was the daughter of a fisherman. When he spoke to the fisherman, he was being very difficult about it. He said, no, he wants his daughter to be the king, not Bhishma Dev, because Bhishma Dev was said to be the king. But then the fisherman said that if his daughter marries Maharaj Shantanu, he wants their son to be the king. Bhishma Dev immediately renounced it and said, I won't be the king then. And then he says, no, but then your son will come. You may not be the king, but your son will want to come and be the king after. And he says, I won't marry. Just like that. And he's voluntarily accepting these big changes. Like his life was meant to go in one direction, and immediately, for his father, he could just let go of that. Not with any bitterness, not with any, oh, this is Krishna's plan and I have to embrace it. Just accepting it. And we have the example of Puru also. When King Yayati wanted to trade his old age for the youth of his son so that he could continue enjoying, Puru didn't even think about it. He just said yes. He actually said, how did I not know this? I should have been a first-class servant, and I should have already known before you've had to ask. I should have known that this is the way to serve you and do it. So these are sons that have accepted a vastly different life voluntarily for the service of their father. And this is at a time where culture was upheld so much that the father was so greatly respected that for the higher purpose they could just do anything out of love. And then we have the example of Maharaj Parikshit, who was cursed and then embraced the curse. He was meant to be king for many more years, but it got cut short, and he just embraced the curse and said, "This is now the time to go to the river and hear the Śrimad Bhāgavatam." So all these devotees are examples of resilience in spiritual life, because they can accept the changes of life with grace and embrace them. I was listening to a lecture by Keshava Swami, and he gave these 5 sutras to become more resilient during the inevitable changes of life. And so I'll share it here, mostly for myself, but if anyone else benefits from this, then great. So the first sutra is be emotionally connected. That means develop good relationships with the devotees, with the people in your life, with seniors, such that when these inevitable changes of life come, you have a support structure that you can confide in, that can give you spiritual guidance, and that can help us through these changes. The second one is be psychophysically situated. So Maharaj spoke about how in the pastime of Gajendra, we hear that Gajendra, the elephant, was so strong, but the reason that he was almost defeated by the crocodile was just because he wasn't in his natural environment. The crocodile was in its natural environment, and therefore it was gaining strength. The elephant was not in its natural environment, so even though it's stronger, it was becoming weaker. And Srila Prabhupada speaks about how that means we need to be situated properly in our varna, in our ashram, so that we can feel some strength and some happiness to be able to fight the battle with Maya. If we're not experiencing that strength, then we're going to lose the battle, even though we're trying. So, like the way the elephant, who is stronger but almost lost. So Keshav Maharaj says that if we are situated in an environment where there's some level of strength and happiness that's natural for us, then we can go through the turbulence of life with some stability. These bring us stability. The third sutra is to be practically balanced. That means not eating too much, not eating too little, not sleeping too much, not sleeping too little, not having too much recreation or too little recreation. If we have a balanced life, then our mental state is peaceful, and then we can go through the changes of life. The fourth sutra is be internally committed. So if we have an internal purpose, some deep commitment within us in our spiritual life that keeps us going no matter what. If we have an attachment, some taste to something, then in whatever volatile situation happens, that will be our anchor. That will be one thing that we're attached to. And the fifth sutra is be spiritually inspired, which means have very strong and serious sadhana. Chanting, reading, associating with devotees, worshipping the deity, all of this, they're pillars that are holding up our spiritual practice. So if we have these five, then with the ups and downs of life, we'll be able to continue on. But then there's also the question of what happens when these things leave us. We have these relationships with people that are keeping us safe and anchored. But what happens when they leave us? Or what happens when our psychophysical situation that we created, what happens when that has to end? Because everything will end. But the idea is that, and the hope and prayer is that, if we anchor ourselves for long enough and create that stability such that we get strength and focus in our spiritual practice, and we go deeper and deeper in our spiritual practice, then even amidst whatever difficulty comes, then our spiritual practice will keep us safe and protected, even though it may be extremely turbulent in times. So that is the prayer and hope that we all have, because change is something that we'll have to accept in the material world, because it's always going to happen, because the material world is controlled by time. And the spiritual world is controlled by rasa. So it said in the spiritual world there is time, but it's subservient to rasa. That means it's not controlling. So when Krishna wants to eat breakfast, he doesn't have a time limit for how much time he can spend eating breakfast. He is there to experience the rasa. So breakfast will go on as long as Krishna is experiencing that rasa. And then when that rasa is complete, he'll move on to the next rasa. So that's how we have sequence in the spiritual world, but no time. There's no time limit. I always equate it in my mind to when senior devotees get together and are spending time. It's like time is conspicuous by its absence. They're just relishing the pastimes of Srila Prabhupada and losing track of time. And then you always feel like you have to go and cut it short and say, oh, Maharaj, we have a program, oh, there's something. But you don't want to, because they're in the spiritual world, because they're remembering Srila Prabhupada and they're just absorbed. And that rasa is going on. And we just want to let it go on. But unfortunately, in the material world, we have a time limit. So I'll end there, although it is Jiva Goswami's disappearance day, so I may want to say something short about that if possible, unless there's questions, I don't know, or comments. Yes.
Before you say that, really, mine is too. Because that's what the guys will do, right? If you say red, what's their favorite color? If you say green, what's their favorite color? Is that the kind of man you want? No, you want to know where they're really coming from. But it gives you the idea in the artificial intelligence. What's the first word? Artificial. That should tell you something. So if you tell the AI boyfriend that you really like green, what does he say? Yes? Now, how do these people train the artificial intelligence boyfriend and friend to care about them? Or were they trained to fake it? Really?
I have no idea.
You know what? You're wearing blue. That's my favorite color. Right? And then they say that. So it's not exactly what you want. Some women get attached to their artificial intelligence boyfriend because he tells them exactly what they want to hear. Now, of course, sometimes people end up with male or female partner that's always on their case and tells them what they don't want to hear. That may not be good either. but you want the realistic position. You don't want someone that always tells you. The one person asked the artificial intelligence, I feel so depressed. My wife left me. I lost my job. I don't feel any reason in life. I feel like dying. I feel like killing myself. What should I do? And it says, probably killing yourself is the best option.
Literally, that's actually happened. People are going to AI for therapy and getting horrible advice like this, like kill yourself.
You have to pick an AI that actually cares about you.
Yeah.
And the other thing is then people lose their ability to do creative thinking.
Yes.
It's like they asked Steve Jobs, who, started the Apple computer, how do your children like the iPads? He says, my children don't have iPads. Because if you can critically think about something, I can add figures in my head quicker than those other people can do it on the computer, and they don't know why or what it means.
Yes.
So anyway, enough for that.
Thank you.
I guess I've been through a few of those circumstances where things changed quickly. That's why you have to have Krishna as the constant. Another one?
Isaiah wants to say something.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Is
Krishna.
there a difference between attachment and stability or routines?
I think there is, because attachment is when we can't do without it. Like we can't function without something. Stability and routine is there to serve. It's there to serve Krishna. It's there to support our lives that we serve Krishna. But even that, we cannot be too attached to that, to the point where it's we're more attached to the routine and stability than we are to Krishna, like that. Because sometimes Krishna throws in some spontaneous way to serve him that doesn't fit into the stability and the routine. And sometimes that's a good idea. Sometimes maybe not. So it's something we have to assess continuously. It's not that we can be overly attached to routine or overly attached to spontaneity, because both of them will have their pros and cons. Okay, before we end, I just want to say that today is Jiva Goswami's disappearance day. And, he is the nephew of Rupa and Sanatan Goswami. And so many, he did so many amazing things, wrote so many books, and is a prolific scholar, Sanskrit scholar. But significantly, everything's significant, but most significantly for this time of the year, Jiva Goswami was the first person who sent out the book distribution party. The original book distribution party, Narottam Das Thakur, Srinivas Acharya, and Shamananda Pandit went out under his guidance to take his literature, the Goswami's literature, from Vrindavan to Bengal and to distribute it. So, and if you look at the book scores from those days, it was amazing how they did it. And that was before the printing press. That was while writing everything. So it's inspiration for the book distribution marathon that's going on, for everyone to distribute books and serve Jiva Goswami like this. And because it's the disappearance day of the Acharya, we can actually pray to him directly. On appearance and disappearance days, we can pray to them directly for blessings and mercy to carry out their order of distributing books. Okay, so I'll end there. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Narottam Das Thakur mentioned that because they had the Gutenberg press in Germany, and the Portuguese had brought one to Goa. And he said, we know that there's a press where you can mass produce these, but it doesn't look like we can get a hold of it right now. But sometime in the future, somebody will be able to use that and print it. So it had come out before. I think the Gutenberg press came out in the early 1400s, something like that. Who knows?
Wow.
Someone can Google it. Gutenberg press. like 1424 or something maybe. They knew about it, but the Portuguese weren't going to let them use it.
Wow.
1440. So that's like 40 before Chaitanya.
Mm.
So they knew it was there, and they said in the future they'd be able to get it.
And then Srila Prabhupada came and utilized it fully.
And Bhaktisiddhanta,
still
that's why I say
utilizing
that he follows Bhaktisiddhanta, said if you get money, print books.
Mm. Thank you so much,
I'm glad you
Prabhu.
said, because I know about circumstances changing. When I came here as the Swami's assistant, and all of a sudden he's gone, and I could have been killed by Africans because they didn't like whites, because whites would shoot them, and the government didn't like me, and all of a sudden I'm here as a child alone, and I had to figure out some plan in Prabhupada's service and how to pay off a $20,000 debt. So all of a sudden that changed. I had an explanation, decided to split. So we have to be ready, because these things can change at any time. And so I always ask people, you ready to speak? And sometimes go, no, 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 no. But good thing is when you speak, Krishna helps you.
Mm.
So we have to be ready for those things. And I'm glad you're ready for it. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.